Howdy folks, Sapper here, aka Sean, and I am bringing you, there we go, Thunder in the Ozarks, the Battle of Pea Ridge, March 1862. And let me give you an interesting little background about this game. So, I recently had to attend a small unit leadership course for my job. And I went to Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. That's where our academy is, and a lot of our institutional training is at Fort Chaffee. So we do a lot of small unit tactics, decision making, under stress, that kind of thing, right? And one of the days we actually went to to Pea Ridge, and it's not really the first Civil War battlefield I've been to. I've been to what is it? It's the one down in Chattanooga. It's Chickamauga. I didn't actually do a big tour of Chickamauga. It is Lookout Mountain, I believe, is what it is. So there was a battle that surrounded Lookout Mountain in Chattanooga. But, so, I mean, I kind of walked around that one on my own, so there wasn't, I was there more for the hiking than the actual, like, walking around any battlefield or anything like that. But we actually had, like, a really quick battlefield study of Pea Ridge. It was very interesting, and it got me thinking about, hey, are there any games on the Battle of Pea Ridge? Now, I do have, my primary interest in war games is moderns, right? And you can use the term modern to define a wide range of things. Like I was told when I was in high school, I was in junior ROTC, and our instructors had made a mention one time that the Civil War was actually the first modern war. And this is how he justified that. So the Civil War involved the first use of air power. So it was hot air balloons, right? There was limited use of hot air balloons. I don't remember if the hot air balloons were used in a combat role. I think they were used more in an observation and reconnaissance role. But you had air power. You had ironclads, so you had the Monitor and the Merrimack. So you did have the first use of steel naval ships, or iron. There was some limited submarine warfare. You had the use of electronic communications in the forms of the telegraph. Obviously, we had artillery and black powder weapons, carbines, things of that nature. Improved logistics, all right, so they used rail. So the Civil War, and there's probably some things that I'm missing, but so you can kind of think of the Civil War as like the first modern battle. And I agree with that, but my modern, I want to break it down even more, and I like World War II and on, right? That's my favorite. So anyway, I do have the U.S. Civil War by GMT, and I do have A Most Fearful Sacrifice. And the reason I bought A Most Fearful Sacrifice is because the map, right? The map is just absolutely gorgeous. So that's the reason I bought that. I haven't played either one of those games, the U.S. Civil War or A Most Fearful Sacrifice. But then back to Pea Ridge. So I go to Pea Ridge, and I look. I'm like, I wonder if there's a Civil War game on Battle of Pea Ridge, and of course I found Thunder in the Ozarks. The funny thing about it is, so I buy the game, and I open the box. I got the Ziploc version. I open the box and I look at it, and I see that Herman Lutman is the game designer. And the funny thing is I actually know Herman personally. He lives here in Knoxville, and we get together when My work doesn't interfere, right? Because I believe that Herman is retired. Um, so his schedule's a little more open than mine is. I still work, and my job does have me working on weekends and stuff. But we meet quite often. And I just thought it was funny that I bought a game, and I bought A Most Fearful Sacrifice. I knew that he was the designer of that one. But I get Thunder in the Ozarks, and I find out that Herman's the designer. So I thought that was neat, right? So yeah, so I've gone on a kind of a tangent to say that I buy a game that, you know, I personally know the designer of the game, but I buy this game not knowing that he was the designer of the game. But anyway, so here we are. Thunder in the Ozarks. It is turn 2. Let's see if we can see that. I think I've got everything in screened where I can see it. So it's turn 2, if I'm not mistaken, because I had to take the stuff off of here to be able to show you the front of the card, because the box covers on the front of this. I believe these guys come in on turn 5. Let me just double check that. That's the reinforcement to turn 5. Yes, turn 5. So those guys. So I got everything on this card right. This is the end of the game right here. I am on turn 2, which is March 7th at 12 p.m. Forces haven't moved a whole lot from their starting positions, but the Confederate forces, they kind of started up around here, and they've kind of moved forward. Now, I can't say that I have a 100% good grasp of the game. I will definitely get a lot of stuff wrong. But this is the first war game that I've played that has the chit pull mechanic. And it's neat. I like the chit pull mechanic so far because there's a ton of unpredictability with chit pull. Like, you never really know what you're going to get, right? Like, I think most of the stuff for turn 1, there were no casualties or anything like that. But it seems that the Confederates drew everything in the beginning, and then the Union forces had the last chit. So it was interesting to see that, like, all the Confederates went first, and then eventually the Union got to go. So let's see here. We will do. So we have already done the command decision phase. I believe you have your key chit, which is it's one of these. So each side has a couple of these chits. You have a key chit, which I believe stays the same all the time, and then you put 2 random chits. So at the end of every turn, you shuffle these up and you put 2 from each side of it. So the command decision phase has been done. So now we'll go ahead and do the artillery phase. Union goes first. You can either, I believe, move or fire. These guys right here, so Elbert, the 1st Missouri, it's definitely a bad spot. I think I need to get him out here. And I don't remember exactly. I do know that artillery are not allowed to be, you can't move any closer than 2 hexes to an enemy unit. I think they're fine if I wanted to keep them there, but I can't move any closer than 2 hexes to anything. So the Confederates did move to engage, but I want to get them out of there, right? Because it's artillery, right? I don't want to squander my artillery. The one thing is I don't know if I can go there. So artillery cannot move into heavy woods. I have to be on a road, so I need to go along that road. I don't know if I can move there because I am moving into that spot. So I'm gonna try to minimize the amount of rules looking up that I do. So I'm going to pretend that I can go here and then move on down the road. So let's see, artillery can use, it looks like, where was it? It was on here. Okay, so a maneuver order. Artillery movement. Okay. 8 movement points for artillery. I knew it was on that card somewhere. So 8 movement points. I do believe that I will receive, I don't remember the exact term for it, but it will be, I will be fired upon by moving away. It's not retreat movement. It is, it's not defensive, it's opportunity fire, yeah. If a unit or stack of units conducts movement out of a hex that is adjacent to one or more enemy units, it must first endure opportunity fire. All right. So we will go 1. That is 1, and I will say that we probably receive opportunity fire from the 4th Arkansas. All right. So what is that? They are using RS. Let me see. Make sure they can do that. All right. So they fired 100% because that's effective. They have a total of 9 strength points. And we will kind of go down this. So we are on the 9 strength point column. We rolled a 32. Probably nothing's going to happen. His cohesion rating, I believe it's the second number, is the cohesion rating is a 4, so it turns into a dash. So he is fine. The artillery movement's fine. That should be 2. Let me just double check. That was 1 movement point, a lane, so that's 2 movement points. So I believe we'll take a fire from here and a fire from here. That's the way I'm going to play it, just for simplicity's sake, right? So we'll do the, actually what I think I might do it from all 3, because again I'm moving away from him. So we'll do it on the 9 first. That's a 52. All right, let's do this. All right, looks like we're going to take a green. All right, let's see here. So then we use the cohesion test table. So we do the red die first, which is a 1. So that is a 1, nothing happens there. And then the white die is a 6. So we would do the skedaddle result is MH and R2. So MH is the lead unit is given a morale hit. And then R2. I have to retreat 2, I believe. Well, I'm retreating kind of anyway, so that is no big deal. The morale hit. I think the morale hit, what is that? It was a morale hit 1, right? Yeah. I believe that means they're shaken. So we were here. Now I think I still have to undergo fire. Opportunity fire. Unit conducting a retreat move does not qualify for opportunity fire in the initial hex. In other words, enemy units adjacent to the retreating unit when it starts its retreat move may not issue opportunity fire. So he's now retreating from the first unit. So according to that, these guys don't get to shoot at you. So what was it? It was a retreat 2. So let's see if these, so in the next hex, if they can see him and they have the range, then I can again shoot. So these guys have RS, so that's rifled and smoothbore. They can fire. They can fire at long range. And then these dudes here, probably line of sight cannot see because these woods are going to block, I think. They're using smoothbore at an extreme range. So we'll go ahead and do the rifled and smoothbore weapons at long range because we're shooting him here now. So their strength is now 50%. So 50% of 7 is 3.5. I believe you round down. There's one instance where you round up. I'm not gonna look that up, but we'll round it down to 3. So we are here. And that is probably not a result. So that is a 14. Yeah, it's not a result. So these guys are good. So we had to retreat 2. Now, since they were already moving and now they're forced to retreat, do I get to continue my move? That's interesting. Oh, stacking points. So that's 3. I think you can have 8. Artillery units. 1 stacking point equals 0.75 stacking points for stacking. That's if I think it's artillery stacked with artillery. So what I will do is I'm just going to go to here. Yeah. I'm just going to go to there. Make that simple. So we just switch back and forth, moving artillery or firing with artillery. The rebels, excuse me, the Confederates, they really don't have a bunch that they can do. You can either move or shoot. So honestly, these guys don't have the range. Well, I think actually they do. You can fire over your own guys. What is that? That is an S, so that's a smooth bore. Oh, they only have an extreme range of 2. That's kind of cruddy. Oh wait, no, smooth bore cannon. So actually they can fire. The only thing they can shoot at would be this cavalry that has, this is all cavalry. They've dismounted to move into the woods because the Confederates have kind of flanked them over here. Otherwise I probably would have moved over that way, but they cannot. And then mounted cavalry cannot move mounted through heavy woods. So they have dismounted. They are in the front of the woods. So I can fire. I do have line of sight. Well, I can fire over my own troops, so there is a penalty to that. Smooth bore cannon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I believe that's effective. So that would be, we're starting on the 6. Targets in heavy woods, so that moves it 2 column shifts that way. Firing over a unit. I'm firing over my own unit here, so that is another -1. So now that takes us down to 3. And target is cavalry. It's not cavalry anymore. It's considered dismounted infantry. So we will fire. We'll fire at this. Let me see which one is which. We'll fire at this guy because his cohesion rating is a lot lower. So I stand a better chance of actually doing something to that guy. And what did I say? Smooth bore cannon should be effective. Should be effective. That might do something. 53. All right, so it's on the 3, or it's in the green column. So we will roll again. I don't know if I'll go into this depth every time, just because it seems pretty tedious. 46 on the green, so 4 does nothing for depletion, but a 6 does a morale hit, and he retreats 2. So I'm pretty sure that gets shaken, and you have to retreat 2. So we were going, the Confederates were going to move through these woods anyway, so you're just kind of helping me out a little bit, so we'll do that. All right, and that artillery has fired. I think I have artillery here. Yep. So the Union, the 4th Ohio Light, commanded by Hoffman, is going to go ahead and fire at. Yeah, we'll get these guys. We'll get the 1st Texas. You look like you're a little stronger. All right. Those are mixed cannons. So mixed cannon. We can fire canister because you're 2 hexes away. So you get 150%. So that you're what is that? What's the that first number? Strength points. So your strength points are 6 times 1.5 makes you a 9. So you start there. Let me see here. Target is in, well, you're on the road. So you're not, I don't believe you're considered, you use the road because you're on the road. I don't believe you use the wooded terrain. Maybe it could be firing through light woods. We'll say that. We'll say it's firing through light woods. Alright, 50% are mixed artillery at long or extreme. We are not at long or extreme. No. Target is cavalry. It's not charging, so we would lose 1 for firing through the light woods, but then we would gain 2 because they are cavalry. I guess guys mounted on horseback are a little bit easier to shoot at, right? So let's roll and see what we get. Man, I am not rolling good. I did get one of the chits, superior artillery, because they moved in here, and once the artillery phase is over, they can't fire again, right? So I moved these cavalry in here under the assumption that they would be free for fire. And they did get to shoot at them on turn number 1, but didn't turn out. So 15, pretty sure that is, yeah, your cohesion rating is a 3, I believe. So yeah, so nothing happens there. Well, these guys, these are not very good artillery. So we'll go ahead and turn them. I think the only other Confederate is this stack up here. I can move those as a stack, which I will do. What did I say the artillery movement was? Confederate artillery can move 6 movement points. Let's make sure. Well, artillery stacking, if they're all stacking together, is 1 stacking point equals 0.75. So we are at 12. 3/4 of 12 is what, 9? So they can all stack together. I don't know where to put them. I cannot stack them together with any of these guys. They would be overstacked. I think what I'll do, that's a main road. What is the movement on main road? I think it looks like it's a half for artillery. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we'll go here with these artillery. Now, also as an aside, not being 100% familiar, being this is the first time I've ever played a Civil War game, obviously tactics are going to be a little bit different, right, than they are with any kind of modern infantry tactics, tanks, that kind of thing. So I'm not quite sure. I know that cavalry are generally used as skirmishers, and you don't want to just, you know, charge into battle with Civil War era cavalry because they'll get chewed up. So they're harassers, flankers, and skirmishers, not frontline troops. So I might do some things that like you probably shouldn't do. So caveat to that. Let's see here. So now we have, I think. All right, I thought that might have been artillery. Where are you? I think you're here. Things are kind of getting moved around a little bit just because. Wasn't there artillery here? There is. Do I want to do anything with him? I don't think I do. Maybe if I do anything. I should probably move back. Or maybe I'll just stay there because I do have Grussel's brigade kind of moving up into the woods fighting. We'll see how that works out. I don't see, again, this is another unfamiliarity with the system, right? Is it better to form a skirmish line in the woods because they're coming into the woods at me? You know, that's just one of those unknowns, right? Just, again, not familiar with Civil War tactics a whole lot, right? Obviously, you want to be on open ground. It's going to help you a little bit better, but then open ground works both ways, right? So I'm going to say that the artillery step is over because I think they're all done. So you were there. We'll do this. I like to do this because that status effect is only on one guy. All right, and there All right, so the next thing is the chit draw phase. Now, this is another thing I wasn't certain about. So I had held chits from last turn, and I continued to hold them. I don't know if you have held chits that you didn't use, if you have to throw them all back in the bag or not. So I held on to what they were holding on to. The Union player is normally the one that would draw, so looks like Davis. Now there was an event that caused him to be wounded, so we'll say he fell off his horse or something, because it was turn 1. He wasn't even engaged. There had been no engagements yet, so we'll say like his horse bucked him off, and now he's hurt. So we have to roll underneath his 3. We did, so I do believe he gets full activation of any one of these brigades, and he only has Pattison. Let's make sure. All right, that's Busey. Yep. I think that's the only Pattison unit on the board. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's the only Pattison unit on the board. So he's the only guy that can do anything. All right. This is tough because I can't stack. What is an attack order? An attack order allows me to move 6. I don't know. All right, on main road, march column is a half. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I can do that. What if I'm not in march column? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't. So I think I can do that. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then we'll go there. So that is an attack order. So I can engage, which is move adjacent to. And then I can also, issue orders, you shoot first and then move and then close combat. So I couldn't fire because there was nothing to fire at. This guy's done because there's only 1 brigade to activate. Davis is activated. So every so often there's going to be a little vibration because I hit the camera, hit the table or whatever. So hopefully that's not too bad. So now he's going to close combat. All right, close combat. All right, now we got him out of there. Let's see here. Close combat. So that is 8, and it looks like that's probably 7. All right, 8 to 7. So we're not outnumbered. It's basically 1 to 1. These guys have close combat weapons, and you have rifles, right? Is that what that is? Yes, rifled weapons. 50% of strength points are S. Nobody has S. Nobody's outnumbered. Greater CR than the enemy. Cohesion ratings, I believe we do have a better. Yep. Okay, so the 22nd Indiana does have a better. So let's say we are here at 8. Greater CR than enemy, so we shift up 1. Defender and higher slope. No, we're all on the same ground. Defender is cavalry. Ooh, -3. 1, 2, 3. Rebel yell event shit, nope. Flanking attack, nope. Cavalry charging, nope. Tactics event shit, no. Wow. And again, would I have charged into battle doing that with just 1 brigade? Probably not, right? But again, this is the first time I've ever played this system, so there's some experimentation going on here. I don't know. What about, let me look up defensive fire. Close combat. Defensive fire. Units in the targeted hex may issue defensive fire. In addition, other enemy units adjacent to the adjacent to any currently attacking units and who are not themselves the target of a different may issue defensive fire. So it sounds like, no, so in that same hex, all right, so I think those cavalry, well, they have close combat weapons. So I don't think they can do, because close combat, can we see this on here? You probably can't read it just because. So they have the cavalry is armed with close combat weapons. So they have there's no numbers. So I don't think that they can't do defensive fire. So I don't think they can do that. So I think we're just going to do a straight up close combat roll. All right, hold up. Cavalry withdrawal. So I forgot about that. Special note, defending infantry units armed with CC weapons, close combat, may issue defensive fire. Defending cavalry units armed with CC weapons may not issue defensive fire. There we go. All right, so that answers that question. All right, cavalry withdrawal. In lieu of issuing defensive fire, an attacked cavalry unit may instead immediately withdraw 1 hex away from the attacking enemy infantry unit only. That's the question. Do I want to withdraw with those cavalry? Well, let me see here. Cohesion is 3. We're going to do it, right? These cavalry are going to stay here because the Confederates are pushing, right? So we want to stay. So 23, that's probably going to be good for the Confederates. Yeah, so we ended up rolling there. Their cohesion is a 3, so 3 is greater than 0, so we don't do anything. So nothing happened with those guys. And I noticed that on these tables, what is that? Another unit may panic. Okay. So these CRTs, like in a lot of CRTs, bad rolls can affect the attacker. It doesn't look like anything affects the attacker ever on these, by the looks of it. Yeah, so, all right, so nothing happened. So that brigade, I'm going to leave him canted to show that I have activated that guy. Now, as long as there are still brigades that need to be activated on the back here, so Pattison, White, and Ellis, I've activated Pattison. If White and Ellis are not in play, but if they were, I would throw this chit back in the bag. And then when all the brigades have been activated on here, then the chit does not go back in the bag. So this doesn't go back in the bag because there's only 1 brigade to activate. So let's see what we get. So this is a Confederate. So they get firefight. Now I have the option to either play this or hold it, depending on what it is. So firefight. What does firefight do? You may play this chit immediately or hold it. All right. Playing this chit allows all Confederate infantry units in any 1 hex to each immediately issue fire combat against an eligible enemy hex. Results are applied normally and immediately. All right. Do I have anybody that I might want to use this firefight on? I can probably, so this is cavalry. I cannot use it here. Now, if they were dismounted, I could do it because now they are considered infantry. But I think maybe here is my best shot. So those are, well, he can't do anything. The 4th Texas can't do crap because they have close combat guns only. I don't think he can do it because line of sight's blocked by those heavy woods. Well, hold Only 1 hex. Rifle and smoothbore, I believe what that is. That is 1, 2, so they are firing at long range. That's half. Their effectiveness, basically their strength goes from a 9 to a 4 because you're rounding down. I have to look up the case. There's one case where you round up. Universal rounding in all cases, with one exception where units' values are altered. Any fraction is maintained until the end of the calculation. When the calculation is totally complete, any remaining fraction is dropped. In the case of figuring SPs for stacking purposes. Okay. So yes, it would go from a 9, you're half because the range would be 4.5, then you round down to 4. Well, do I want to hold on to that? I think the Confederates will hold on to this because we still have to move everybody yet. Maybe somebody will be in a better position later to put that firefight to a little bit better use. All right, so we'll draw a new chit here. Oh, all right. Uh-oh, looks like we got a fog of war. All right, fog of war table. Now, this is one of the things, I'm sure I could probably go on Board Game Geek, but I'm not going to. In the rules, it says roll 1 die. On the back of the chit, it says roll 2 dice. So I'm only going to roll 1 die because I'm going to go by what the rules say and not what's printed on the chit. All right, so we rolled a 4. That was a 4. Wayward Confederate move. All right, let's look up that. The opposing player to the affected side selects any one enemy unit to effect. He may then move this enemy unit 1 legal hex in any direction, regardless of where it is located on the map. All normal movement, opportunity fire, and stacking rules apply. Ah, you know what? This would probably be a good time to maybe move one of these guys out of here. Because now I get to do some opportunity fire on them. With the 22nd Indiana, I think I will move this guy. So he will move out. Yep. And then as he exits that hex, I will shoot at him. This is removed from the bag for this turn because it's already been played. And see, this is interesting, right? Like these fog of war, they just throw elements in there that, you know, that you don't expect, right? So think of so it's a wayward Confederate move. So maybe we could think of it as these guys opened up on them, right? They fired at these guys, and then the horses got spooked, and these guys decided to roll out, right? So there's a tiny bit of narrative that you can inject into this if you want to. If you want to be creative, you can do that. Like that's how we justify those guys moving out of there, right? Like maybe the horses got spooked when the 22nd Indiana fired on them the first time, right? Which you would think that horses back in that day, you know, they're used to that kind of thing. But hey, combat is a strange thing. A lot of crazy things can happen that you don't ever expect. Luck plays just as big a factor in things sometimes than any kind of planning or skill or training can negate. So we're going to fire at him. Let's see here. This is fire combat. Let's say they are in Lightwoods. So all right, so we are at 8. Targets in Lightwoods, we move it down 1. Firing unit, skirmish order, firing through Lightwoods. Nah, I don't know if those combine or not. I'm not going to worry about that. Target is cavalry 2. There we go. So we're on the 11. Fire combat SP adjustments. Opportunity fire 50%. Is that? So you're only firing at 50%. Where the heck was opportunity fire? All right, so we have our SPs. So we were here at the 8. So we should go down to 4, and then I think we moved 1 up because of, what did we do? All right, hold up, we're at 4. Targets and light wood, so we go down to 3, and then I think because they were cavalry, we move up 2, so we're at 5. All right, so I think we're good now. Man, boy, that red die, so the red die is the 1s, and the white die is it's the D66 table, right? And I don't even need to look. A 14 is not going to be anything. Yeah, we're up here. So these guys get out of there, no problem. All right, so Fog of War is done. So this is another interesting thing about the chit pool, right? We know that there's only one Fog of War chit in there, so both sides now know that some random event cannot happen. There is, I don't remember the other chit. What is it? It is Fortunes of War is the other one. So there's Fortunes of War still in the bag. All right, it looks like the Confederates get to go. Need to roll a 4 or lower. All right, we got a 4, so I get to do a full activation of one of those brigades. And I believe they are all on the board. Yep, we have McIntosh, we have Herbert A, Herbert B, and then we have Pike. I think we might want to do the Herbert B. That's what I'm thinking. I think we'll do that. I think we'll do Herbert B. And why don't we do... That guy's kind of weak, isn't he? Maybe I'll move him... I was going to move him down into here, but I think maybe I'll have him flank around, because these brigades are a little bit stronger. That's the 2nd Arkansas MR. I don't know what MR stands for. If it was modern, I'd say mounted rifles, but I mean they're not cavalry. The Confederates do want to take Wiley Foster's farm, because that will be denying the Union victory points. So why don't we do this? We'll go 1, 2, we'll do that. 1, 2, 1, 2, oops. Let's move up into the woods here. We'll do that, and then we'll use these guys kind of as flankers because they're close combat guys. What's the movement on infantry? Oh, we're doing an attack move, by the way. I guess I should have figured that out first. So we can move 6, I believe, because we're moving upslope. I think that's a 3, right? I think that's lower. Yes, that is lower. So this is 2, 3. What is it to move into heavy woods? Another 3. That would be 6. Boom. Now, under normal circumstances, if this was real life, I can see everything on the board, right? I know there's a unit here, but in real life, would you have been able to see through the heavy woods to know that the 4th Missouri was in there? You know they went back into the woods, you just don't know where they are. So we will charge into the woods. I believe we can do defensive fire with these guys here. You can probably do some defensive fire too. Let's look at that real quick. And then I think once I'm done with this turn, I'll probably stop filming the play-by-play, because it's kind of tedious, and then just come back with little snapshots of kind of what happened. Yeah, I wish I could stack some of these guys to get higher results, but stacking limits are 8 strength points or whatever, so they're already maxed out. All right, so these are at half, so they would basically be at 1. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? You can miss, because there's no adverse effects for missing. This guy goes back into the bag because there's still 3 brigades that need to be activated, so he goes back into the chit bag or chit cup or whatever you want to call it. All right, so I guess we will attack here. Let's try to, maybe we'll get lucky and both of these will fire at one guy, because maybe we'll get a result, right? And maybe if both of them hit, then we will get stacking results. So I don't think those guys are out in the open. They are not cavalry. They were cavalry, but now they are infantry. Firing through light woods. No, it's heavy woods. We're not firing through light woods because we're actually in the woods. All right, so it doesn't look like anything. So both of those are going to be firing on the one column. They are firing, well, one is a, let's see, we got carbines and rifles, right? Carbines and rifle. So we're firing at 100%. So effective range. We'll both fire at him. 35, that's probably, yeah, almost. We needed 1, nah, that wouldn't have even mattered either. He's a 3, so we need to get, we need a 6 on the red die. If we get a 6 on the red die, then we'll be good. And that is nothing. All right, so now the Confederates get to fire back. I think we'll go from, we'll just go left to right. So we'll start, actually you have close combat weapons, so you can't do anything. These guys can't do anything. Oh, we can fire at him too, by the way. Well, you're firing on at a 1 as well. So we need a 6. Nope. That wanted to be a 6, but it did not happen. All right. All right, so his defensive fire, no good. So you can't do anything because you have close combat weapons only. So he will fire here. So that's starting at a 9 strength points. What is it? Mixed. You are effective. Target is in heavy woods. 2. No ammo. No. All right, that looks like it's it. 51. You have a cohesion of 4, so we roll on the green table. For fire combat, so we're firing on the routine. 33, 3, and so retreat 1. So I believe we have to retreat towards the southern side of the map, and we cannot go here because we will be engaged with other units, so we will go here. Advance after combat. I know I've seen it someplace. Advance after close combat. That was not a close combat. All right. Oh, wait, actually that was a close combat because we moved. So that was, and yes, that was an attack order. So that was a close combat. So we can, I don't want to move him that way. Do I? As a matter of fact, I do. We'll move here. That guy can't do anything anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we will fire him to here. You know what? I rolled on the wrong chart, too. I should have been using the close combat. I'm not going to redo that. there probably would have been some different modifiers for that. So this guy to here, so it is the 17th Arkansas versus the 5th Missouri. So that's close combat. That is 3 to 8. So that's 2 to 1. We are at what, 8 starting off. We are at 2 to 1 odds, so that bumps us up to there. No. Greater cohesion rating, no. Defenders on higher slope, no. Steeper slope, no. Defenders cavalry, no. No, no, no. Alright, so that looks like that's it. $45. Wish this chart was a little larger, but that's, you know, it is what it is, right? 45. So his cohesion is a 3, so we roll on the yellow, the tough chart. Close combat. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look up what close fight is. I need to look that up. Is there? I don't know what. Oh, okay. So even if you get a normally get a no result in close combat, you still actually go on to that. All right, that's kind of cool. So it looks like it's possible, no matter what, to get something with 23. So what were we on? I think we were in tough, right? Yes, we were in tough. The 2 is nothing. The 3 is RA2P. RA, so that is all units retreat 2 hexes. Well, there's only 1 unit in the stack, so if it was a stack, all of them would retreat. And then P, another unit may panic. Okay, so we have to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2. What's the panic? Panic result. That's fire combat cohesion test. Panic result. This result means that in addition to the normal result to the lead unit, which that was the lead unit, 1 other unit, if available, will panic. The firing player selects 1 enemy unit in the targeted hex, or an adjacent hex that has a modified cohesion rating of 3 or less. This selected panicked unit then suffers the same skedaddle test result only as the lead unit. No panic occurs if there are no eligible units with a low enough CR. So there was nobody adjacent to him with a CR of 3 or less, so there is no panic. And now that guy can move into there. And I think that does it for Herbert's B Brigade. I don't think that's how they actually designated them back then. You never know, they could have though. All right, I think that's all I'm going to do as far as videoing this turn, because it's probably going along already. And then probably at the end, or maybe after the activation of another brigade, who knows? But for now, I'm not going to video the whole thing, because this thing's probably going on at least 30 to 45 minutes. All right, a couple more chit draws have happened since the last time I ended. So the Union's slowly pulling back. These guys did I think a defensive move, so they were able to rally. That they had a shaken marker on them. So the 4th Missouri had a shaken marker. They have to be at least 3 hexes away. So 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. I don't remember. But so they moved back to clear that marker. Actually, these guys are done. I forgot to do that. They didn't get a chance to move because it was the Confederates. So you have to roll a die. If you roll above that number, then the only thing that brigade can do is do a fire order only. So I decided to use it on this cavalry right here rather than waste it on McIntosh or Herbert, which can actually do something at the moment. So I activated, it was, what's his name? One of these days I'll get the names down. So it was McCullough. So he activated McIntosh. So these cavalry units were here. They dismounted, moved into the woods because we want to try to clear this road out here. And this guy here, I think that is the 1st Texas. They moved in. Defensive fire rolled a really high result on these guys, which caused them to retreat, and they are disrupted. So now I'm doing a combined close combat on here. These guys actually get the benefit of the cavalry charge. So it is, looks like 10 strength points to 8. So we start here. Greater CR, cohesion. So actually, no, we do not have greater cohesion. No, not greater cohesion. So we'll move that back 1. But we're at the 10. But we are also doing a cavalry charge. These guys are eligible for the cavalry charge against infantry artillery, so that's another 2 column shifts. So we start here and we go to 12 actually. So that's a combat column shift, I think. Sorry about that. So now we're getting ready to roll. Both of these 2 guys attacking the 22nd Indiana. Oh man, that is going to be good. That's going to be an amazing result. So all severe. What does that mean? Oh, I guess that it doesn't matter what your cohesion rating is. So it's going to be a severe result no matter what. So now we roll on the, I don't know if we can see this whole thing. So now we'll roll on the close combat cohesion table. Now we need that same result of a 66. 46, that's probably going to be good. So it is severe, so it will be a D2. So D2 is lead unit. On its fresh side is flipped to the battle-worn side. Okay, so both of these units, we'll say that one of the, well, this guy's the lead. They are already on their battle-worn side. So what happens there? Lead unit on a, is flipped over. Lead unit on a battle-worn side takes a break test. So you're already on the battle-worn side, so you're going to take a break test. Let's see here. So your cohesion rating is a 2. So that's a 2. It's less than or equal to. So yes, it is less than or equal to. So you will be shaken. All right. Oh, what did I get? Man, I didn't. Oh, that second number was a 6. So we were gone to there. I think we were there, right? D2. We had a D2. Boy, you got to remember some of the things that these things were sitting on. Here, let's do this. So we were at a D2 for that one, and the second number was a 6, so that'll be there. So he's shaken. Same as D, plus the next largest printed SP unit in the same hex suffers a D result. D, all units suffer a D result. So I think he has to do a freaking break test as well. That's a 3, so that is the CR plus 1. So you're a broken 1. So I believe this guy, he goes into the broken 1 box. I think that's how it works. So he's pretty much removed. He's not in the game right now. He's kind of donezo. Those guys broke, scattered to the 4 winds. So that is just the depletion result, the skedaddle result. The lead unit must make a break test. All right, I guess we're going to make another break test. Oh, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. Stop rolling. Okay, so that is a, well, your CR is now a 1, so that is a CR plus 2, so you go to the broken 2 box. All right. RA3, all units retreat number of hexes. So he was involved. So I think he is going to, he didn't have to do the break test, but I think he is going to have to do the, so this cavalry charge failed miserably. So he's going to have to retreat 3 hexes. 1, 2, 3. Well, what's our stacking limit? All right, we can go there. Yeah, that was bad. Panic. There was nobody adjacent to any of these to panic, so I don't think there's a panic result on that. Wow. That cavalry charge ended up poorly. I thought it was going to go well, but that's where you see how things can go. Hold up. Did I do this wrong? I think I might have done this wrong. I think I did. That was supposed to be on this guy, right? Right. That was a... I'm not the smartest, not the sharpest tool in the shed. All right, what was the original thing? It was a D, and then, okay, so it is this guy. All right, hold up. Let me rewind all that. That is not against the Confederates. That is against the Union. That's against the 22nd Indiana. I think it was a D2. There's only 1 unit in that hex. In the same hex, yes. So, all right. So it's just a D result. So lead unit on its fresh side is flipped over to its battle-worn side. So you go battle-worn. So you are there now. These guys have moved. Man, I caught myself almost. So now we do the 6 result on the skedaddle. So the BT is what again? Lead unit must make a break test. So let's do a break test. So you have a 3. That's a 2. So you are shaken. All right. And now you have to retreat 3. We will go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we have a panic result. Another unit may panic. I believe, what was it, 3 or less? I think it's so. This unit. Yeah, just those 2 units. Who? Panic result. Firing player. So that would be the Confederate. Select 1 enemy unit, not the lead unit, in the targeted hex or an adjacent hex that has a modified CR of 3 or less. So you will also suffer the same skedaddle result, which is a 3. So I will do this one. 1, 2, 3. Boom. All right. Now we can advance after combat. All right, so we can advance after combat, so we will go right here. Stacking limit is 8, so we have 8 strength points. And this guy was here. All right. All right, well, we almost, that thing almost ended up turning to being the opposite of what it was the actual intention. So that was a, I was thinking that the Union was coming out on top, and it was not. It was the Confederates that actually won that one. So anyway, there you go. So that is, I think there are 3 chits in the bag. So we're almost done with this turn. But yeah, I wanted to get that. I'm glad I caught myself in fixing that little bitty mistake. But yeah, so there you have it, a cavalry charge that worked out kind of well. So here's another redo that I just caught myself. So I said cavalry charge. All of these were all dismounted, right? So that would have been 2 column shifts left. So what were we at? We were at 10. So we were over here. I got the all severe result. So it would have actually been here. I don't know if you can see that. Nah, you can't see that. So my initial result, I had, so it was 10 strength points. So I had it over here to this column. I rolled all severe because I think it was a 66, which was wrong because I couldn't have got the 2 additional column shifts for cavalry charging because they were dismounted at the time. So that would have put me over to the 10 column, but I rolled a 66, so it still would have been in the severe column. So it was a mistake, a mistake on my part, but it didn't matter because the results were the same anyway. Alright, so chits got played or whatever. There was the Fortunes of War. Next chit pull is disregarded or whatever. So that kept the Confederates from doing some stuff. I forgot to move these 2 units, so I just moved them up there, which is fine. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It's the first time I'm playing this series, so there are going to obviously be mistakes made. But this is the board state after the 12, is it p.m.? p.m., right? 12 p.m., 11:59 a.m., 12 p.m. turn on March 7th. Now I think you can free play these held chits. I don't know if you can hold them over. You have to use them all. It's not super duper important, but I have that. This is kind of the board state as of, again, the 7th of March. It looks like the Confederates are doing a successful job of driving the Union Army back. Where was it? I think there is, yeah, so that is preventing the Union the Union Army from gaining VPs. I don't think there's the Confederates get VPs for that. Where is it? There's a thing. Yeah, Wiley Foster gives 2 VPs to the Union, but he doesn't give any to the Confederates. What was the other one they were getting a victory point for? I think it was... no, right there. So that is a VP for the Union. So it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only VPs that are getting awarded right now. Yeah, none of that's VP. So the Union will get 1 VP. They'll go to 4. And all right, yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll just start turning these. Yeah, so we definitely need to hold that. That is, what is that? 23, is that 2309? Yeah, that's 2309. So that's Oberson's Crossroads. So that is a victory point that the Union Army wants to hold, if they can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it, but again, we don't know how things are going to turn out. I think that the Confederates are going to have to do a series of what are they? Probably some maneuver orders. So maneuver orders are just moving. Although over here it looks like we can probably get some stuff done. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm sure I've screwed some stuff up. In fact, I'm positive I've screwed probably a lot of stuff up. But it's not a bad little system. Thanks for watching.